I've had a lot of comments expressing doubt that these felony complaints are doing anything. So let me give you a quick explanation of exactly what's been happening in the courts and why. But first off, these are actually legal documents under oath that need to be dealt with no matter what. I can't force criminal charges on anybody, but ignoring a well-founded felony complaint that's placed onto a docket under oath after the judge is notified becomes a felony violation for that judge themselves. So you end up creating this massive liability chain. Now, one specific example showcasing how this has helped in my case exactly goes into the RPO docket, the risk protection order, where they took my weapons and tried to solidify the whole thing. That was actually petitioned for by the sheriff's office and then filled with a whole bunch of corroborating witness statements that are now proven to be 100% lies. I had gone back and forth for weeks with the judge in this case, all through that court docket, trying to dismiss the case, vacate the order based on fraud, and I gave all the examples and proof from court recordings and how the proceedings went. All types of evidence of fraud and other things was placed into this court docket, but this judge will not interact with it, and he denies everything while calling me delusional, until I put in these verified complaints, and then we see a very panic-driven move from Judge Aaron Hubbard. There was already plenty of evidence at this point pointing to the fact that Judge Cope had been removed from the case, but she was still signing these bare-bones boilerplate orders that don't really say anything, nor do they push forward the case or stop it. That was all after reporting her to the feds, and I've already made about 12 well-founded reports to the federal agencies like the FBI, Department of Justice, and then I went ahead and looped in Department of Homeland Security, Health and Human Services, Florida Department of Health, DCF, DEA, the VA. Everybody knew what was going on. Everybody had already been looped into this liability chain, but Judge Hubbard was still trying to fight back and defend himself. Now, the week leading up to this, I had sent in an original felony kidnapping complaint. That was the first one, to test the water, see what they would do. No retaliation. Also no response, so they're just trying to ignore it like I'll go away. Then I place another one, armed burglary. Gotcha, that one's directly tied to this court case for you, Judge Hubbard, so you knowingly ratified fraud and allowed perjury to happen in your courtroom. That's not good. That means you have no jurisdiction, you have no judicial immunity, right there from that, once you're notified. And then where it gets real fun is I put in the real crazy verified felony complaints and notified him directly, and then 4 other judges. These felony complaints allege attempted murder, RICO conspiracy, felony kidnapping, felony assault of a child with a deadly weapon, and there's video evidence to back up all those, and then fraud all over the place to accomplish all of it. And then there was one extra one that really sealed the deal that they're all going away forever. This one invoked international treaty laws that forces the federal government into mandatory investigations, so they know that they're screwed. There's no way that they're possibly getting out of this once that has been invoked, and I think the federal agencies involved knew it was going to touch on that statute from the second I reported it. So, what happened? Did he respond to any of them? Did he look at any of the evidence? No. He tried to send me what looked like an official order, but it was actually a legal ex parte communication calling me delusional and trying to set up an attack before this shit could go anywhere. Ooh, that never ended up in the court docket. You want to explain that one, Judge Hubbard, why I sent you all these verified criminal complaints? You ignore everything, tell me that I just don't practice law to the standard that he's going to interact with, but he'll touch on it because I'm a pro se litigant. No, you'll touch on it because it's the law, and then you still didn't touch on it. He tried to deny it by stating that I don't understand what's going on. I don't understand the law behind this. There was no fraud. There's no issues. There's nothing wrong. There's nothing to see. That never ended up in the court docket. The only person that ever got that one is me and probably the FBI. I can imagine that got rerouted to them pretty fucking quick. But the next day after that, Judge Hubbard seems to have just, poof, disappeared. And then all these weird transmissions started happening from the court docket that are sealed, and I can't get into them at all. The day after that happened, the order he supposedly sent me never showed up in the court docket, but what did is something that just says, no description available. No information on who it came from, what it is, nothing. It's just completely sealed, completely confidential for some reason. I would bet it's FOIA 7C for law enforcement sensitivity. And there's no description available or even a docket number. It's just gone, missing off the appellate index record. Like it never existed, but it went somewhere. There's also a request for judicial notice for somebody pulling something from the docket that, again, has no information, can't access it, nothing. No idea who sent it, where it's going, or anything. And then it took about 2.5 weeks for me to get a response of any sort from Judge Hubbard, or whoever's ghostwriting these orders at this point. But it said the same exact boilerplate language of every order I've gotten back from Judge Cope at this point, too, since that happened. It's all just says legally insufficient and denied. It's setting them up to take all of the liability for this thing. I'm fairly certain that they've been pulled off the case by the feds, and this is very tightly managed by somebody other than them at this point. And nobody seems to be capable of touching on the evidence just yet. But they're not denying anything I'm saying in any way, shape, or form. And honestly, with the amount of reports and calls I've made to the FBI and all these agencies, they would have hit me with false reporting charges 100 times by now if any of what I'm saying is wrong. Maybe I'm mixing up some statutes, but the material and the evidence is there. I'm telling the truth. This is what I'm seeing.